Welcome to the Poor Man's Retro Game Room, and today I wanted to make a video response to 123gamerman's video on reproductions. I think he brought up some excellent points. I see pretty much eye to eye with him. I just kind of wanted to let you know where I stand on reproduction games. And of course, with the cost of retro games going through the roof, that always opens opportunities for scammers to try to take advantage of you. Anytime you're looking for a rare game or a game that's very nostalgic to you but is high priced, and you finally figured out how to get that game and you got the money and you're going to go get it, I would 100% recommend doing some very good research. Especially if it's a pricey game. You know, if you're at a garage sale and you're paying $1 for a game, chances are that's not a repro, and if it is, you're not out anything really. And then the other thing, I wanted to kind of give you my thoughts on reproductions. So I don't have a problem with reproductions at all. There are a few things that I do want on my reproductions. And you can say the same as multi-carts. I don't have a problem with multi-carts either. Now, 123gamerman brought up a really good point, and I agree with him 100%. I have some reproductions, and 123gamerman, you left a comment about Castlevania X, Castlevania Dracula X, and Turrican 2. Both of these are high quality reproductions that I got back in the day when Etsy was actually kind of the Wild West of reproductions. You could go on there and get some really high quality, good reproductions. However, the main thing that I want on my reproduction cart, and I don't know, it's in pretty small print. Man, it's going to be hard to see. It's pretty grainy right there. But if you look under the picture on the label, you'll see some fine print there, and it says reproduction on it. Just looking at the back, you could tell that he used, you know, a donor cart. The label it's really glossy and bright, and I've never had the original cart, so I can't compare it to it. But anybody out in the wild looking at this, if they don't look, and see that reproduction, I mean, they could be fooled by it. And if you look at the board, just not taking it apart, you're going to see kind of a brownish board, kind of the way a board should look. This is a really high quality reproduction, but it is stamped with reproduction on the label. Both of my games are. You can see that one a little bit better. Now these aren't cheap. The high quality ones back in the day on Etsy, these were like $45, but I mean, compared to the original price of the game, yeah, it is cheap. And I don't have the money, and I don't think that these games are good enough games. They're not nostalgic to me. So I'm not going to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on these two cards. But I wanted to play them. Especially anything with Castlevania on it. Anything with Turrican on it, actually. So, I got the reproduction. Couldn't afford it. And I'm not going to spend, $300 on those. And there are some ways, so that's the first tip. If it's a really high quality, and this is a heavy cart, I mean, it feels just like a regular cart, man. Check the label for that reproduction. The other thing that you're going to want to do is you need a bit screwdriver, and there's different sizes of these. This is the one that works on my Genesis, so it's a little too big. The smaller one, the next size down, and they sell them on Amazon. You can get them on Amazon for really cheap. They're great to have for cleaning your cartridges. They're great to have for checking your cartridges before you buy them. Take the cartridge apart. Take a look at it. Look at the chip. One of the other high quality ones, and I just took this one apart as an example, but Mega Turrican. That's a high quality reproduction, so I took it apart to kind of show you what it looks like. And I'm a little more versed on the Sega Genesis repros, but you can see that chip, the big chip, and you see the window on it. Yeah, that's a Reproduction. It's a high quality PCB board. The soldering is really high quality, but the board also looks very new. So, you know, there's no chip on here that says Sega. So, and they can do that. They can. I've seen John Riggs do it, where they can actually flash a Sega chip and put it on a different board or on an original board, or, you know, and man, that when you start doing that, it's really hard to tell if it's a repro. And I don't know, you know, you shouldn't be getting charged a lot for that because it's not the original game. This is my Sega Genesis 6-pack. So my official Sega Genesis 6-pack, which is a multi-cart put out by Sega back in the day. And you can see the chips there. I don't know if you'll be able to read it, probably not. But both those chips say Sega on it, both the big chips there. So take it apart, you know, look at it. And there's also pictures online. Pull up some pictures online, do some research, pull up a picture of the board. Dad Racer gave me a great site when I first got my gun knack, because I wanted to make sure, you know, that it's a legitimate copy. I paid $1 for it, so I wasn't worried about the money part of it. But I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to trade this game or sell this game, I have to be sure that this is an original cart. So Dad Racer sent me a website. You can go to that website. It's a database, and it shows the actual board of a gun knack game. You can match the chips up, check them all out. That's the way to go. Some of the very easy ones you can tell on the Sega Genesis. My copy of Contra Hardcore. See that little dent right there? That little dent? Always look for that. And they're easy to spot on eBay. Check that out. That's a repro. The label looks terrible on it. I mean, look at the back of the label. Come on, you know. These are from China. They're very cheaply made, and this game I'm going to play on a clone console. I'm not putting this into my original hardware to play it. So, you know, repros. Yes, I have some repros. I have very few of them, honestly, and I only get them if they're a very high-cost, out-of-reach game. I don't use any of the flash carts. Probably should, because they are a money saver, and you know, that's kind of a different conversation because you're playing the ROM on original hardware. So, you know, I like having the cartridge. I like having the original game and being able to put it in my system and play it. And you know what? I like these. They say Reproduction on it. They're a high quality game. You know, they're heavy. They're tactile. They're just like a regular SNES game. I like having those games. I would rather have those than on a flash cart, and that's just me, man. Everybody's different, and you could save a lot of money by just getting the flash carts, and you can have the entire library at your fingers. So I completely understand the reasoning for that. There are another couple of things to look out for too. So my Super Turrican is also a repro, and I got this right when I first started collecting and didn't really do a whole lot of research. I knew this was a repro, but I think that I'm going to actually put a tag on it saying it's a repro, because that's a pretty decent box. I mean, you can see some things with the color, you know, maybe on that little logo there, but that box is a repro, so you kind of got to watch that too. And you will see online, I've seen it, and they don't disclose it. So they're going to sell you a complete in box or box and cart, and the box isn't real, but the cart is, and that jumps the price up. So do your research on that. Check the pictures out. Look online. Do some research online. And I'm going to put that one website for checking out NES game cartridges and their boards and everything. It has all the database in there. You can look up any game and tell if it's a repro or not. And then, you know, one of the other things that I was going to kind of cover is multi-carts. Now, there's official and probably the most famous multi-cart is the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. The best value in retro gaming, in my opinion, today is the real multi-cart put out by Sega Genesis, the 6-pack, with like 6 great staples on that cartridge, on one cartridge. And that's official. That's licensed, you know, excellent. Then I have in my clone console, which I showed in my game room tour the other day, multi-carts that they sell. Now I got one for the NES that has over 100 games on it. Most of those games play fine, and really, honestly, it's going to be the only way that I'm going to be able to play those games. Now I will play that on a clone console just because I'm kind of worried. I've heard some stuff on the voltage. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if it'll mess up your original hardware. I don't know. But I play it on my Super Retro Trio. Play it on my CRT. Little Samson is on that multi-cart. You think I own that? Nope. No way. No way. Has a lot of rare games on that multi-cart, and they're all at your fingertips. So, you know, it's kind of like using a flash card in a way. And then I've got a Sega Genesis one, and the Sega Genesis one has like 123 games on it or something, but it plays great. I haven't had any issues with that one. Now this NES multi-cart, I have had issues. So Contra doesn't play right on it, and one of my other favorite games, and it's a mortal sin to include this game and not have it play right, Bionic Commando doesn't play right. Also, The Legend of Zelda doesn't scroll the screens right, so you have to beware if you're buying a multi-cart. They're usually fairly cheap, and you know, I've had these a while, so maybe the technology has gotten better, but you got to kind of be aware. You know, I'm going to buy this multi-cart, I'll be able to play Bionic Commando and Contra and Legend of Zelda. Well, all the other games run fine on it as far as I can tell. Not those 3. They don't run well. They don't run right. So you're running the risk of that, but you know, for the price of it, not that big a deal really. And I have seen some multi-carts for the Super NES. I haven't got any of those, but I thought that 123gamerman really put some good thought behind his video, and it just really inspired me to make a video response. And what I really would like to hear is from this community. I would like to hear what you guys think of repros. Do you use repros? Have you ever taken a bath on a repro? Have you ever bought a game, got it home, and realized it's a reproduction and spent top dollar for it? 123gamerman had a really good point where he went into a pawn shop, and the pawn shop guy took a bath on a cartridge, and it was an obvious repro. I mean, any real retro game collector or, you know, retro gamer that has physical media, they're gonna look at that and say, that's a repro, man. If you've been in it long enough. So has that ever happened to you? Have you ever been in a retro store and retro game store and taken a game apart before you purchase it? Because if I'm paying anything above, you know, 30-40 bucks, I'm taking that game apart. And have you ever maybe caught a repro in a retro game store? The one that I went to wouldn't sell repros of any kind at all. Do your retro game stores in your area sell repros? That's another good question. You know, and we can get into, one of these days I'm going to get into do a video on backups, burned CD copies, and kind of talk about that. But as far as like the repros hurting, one of the points comes up is, well, you know, the developers aren't making money on these games now. They might make money on it if they're putting it on a you know, a mini system. Retrobit did a deal with Jalco and Data East where they put out some multi-carts that are officially licensed by those two companies. So I mean, you know, there is a little bit of gray area there, but man, you know, playing a backup copy or a repro isn't hurting the gaming industry. And I think the biggest thing is to be forthcoming with it, and to buy a repro, if it's a high quality repro that isn't obvious, even if it is, man, you know, try to get one with a label on it. You know, something might happen to me and my kids have to go through my game my game collection at some point and sell it and get rid of it. You know, they need to know what they're selling. They would all want to know that. None of them would, you know, want to be in a situation where you're trying to trade or sell a game that's a repro. So it is an issue. It's a big issue. And I think as the price of retro games has gone up and up and up, repros have become a bigger and bigger issue. So I don't have a problem at all with repros. I own some Reproductions, but I just like them to be labeled, and I'm going to be forthcoming with you. And I got some compliments on this, and that I was already thinking about 123gamerman's video and making a response, and then he kind of commented on these two games, and I'm thinking, you know, yeah, they're sitting there on the stack, but you know, they're not the real thing. So this is the poor man's retro game room, man. But so these are repros. I still love them. I still play them, and I have a good time with them. Those work great. My Mega Turrican works great. You know, so I have a few repros. No problem with it. I'm going on way too long about this. Yeah, so I would really like to hear from you guys. I want to hear from the community. You know, anybody, any of the YouTubers out there, anybody who watches YouTube videos, collects retro games, they don't even have to, you don't have to be a creator at all. Just give me your thoughts on it, you know. Would love to see this, and I'd kind of like to see it kind of snowball into some other video responses from some other collectors that I watch and that watch my channel, and we've communicated in the past. So yeah, and give me your thoughts. So anyway, gone on way too long. Sorry for taking your time. Thank you very much for joining me today and taking time out of your day to watch this video. If you like it, consider hitting the like button. If you like what you see on my channel, consider hitting the subscribe button. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.